Привіт. I'm Chuck Olenek, a Ukrainian-American, baptized with the name Yaroslav, and that's also the name I use as a member of the historical reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism. When I retired from being a history teacher, where I used to dress up for the time period, I realized I still wanted to tell history in the form of a story, or talk about Slavic folklore and mythology, which I didn't get a chance to, and still dress up. So this is my opportunity to do it. And I'm doing this also to make certain resources more accessible to members of the society. This might give them a starting point or a particular insight into this particular part of history for this part of the world, and it might inspire them to do further research. So I've been wading through stories of the Bogatyrs or Bogatyri, the heroes of Kievan Rus, and specifically many of them serve at the court of the mythical Prince Volodymyr Bright Sun or Prince Volodymyr Red Sun, who's like a merger of a couple of historical Volodymyrs, and he's kind of like the Slavic King Arthur. Well, one of the members of his court is very much a Lancelot, and this is the mightiest of the Bogatyri, Ilya of Murom or Ilya Murometz, who is incredibly strong and rides across the countryside on his horse Cloudfall, who can leap rivers. So he's a hero, all right? And one of the things that I noticed in Slavic lore is that the hero often likes to go disguised. So I'm going to tell you the tale of Ilya of Murom and the Boon companions. Who would tell us of the things of old and the things that have been, of that Ilya of Murom, of Ilya Murometz, the son of Ivan? From the city of Halich to Kiev town, royal Kiev town, where Prince Volodymyr Bright Sun, Red Sun, held court, ran a broad road of 40 sash in width. Along that road fared a pilgrim, and he trod the road in his footgear of bast. His smock was tattered with use, and a rag was his girdle. His cap weighed 40 poods. His crutch was 9 fathoms, and he leaned upon a hooked staff. The old man's beard was sprinkled with gray. His head was all white. That aged pilgrim entered Kiev town, royal Kiev town. He craved refreshment after his long journey, desiring to drink green wine at the royal pothouse. He entered very softly, trod very lightly, said a prayer, crossing himself as enjoined and bowing to all sides as was the custom. "Hail, ye vintner's men," quoth he, "pour me a pail and a half of wine to refresh me, a wandering pilgrim." But the vintners made answer, "Nay, you old dog, you greyhound, we will not trust thee. We will not give thee the green wine without thy surety." But the pilgrim took from his neck an ancient and wondrous cross, 6 poods and a half in weight, of purest antique gold. "Take this cross as surety," said he, but they dared not. But the poor boon companions of the pothouse, the peasants, and the smerdi, the villagers, gave each a copper veksha, the value of a squirrel's pelt, and bought therewith a bucket and a half of green wine for the pilgrim. The old man grasped it in one hand and swallowed it in one breath, and said, "I thank ye, boon companions, and peasants of the village, smerdi all. You've given the old man wine to drunkenness, but now it is late. Come ye therefore to me tomorrow right early, and I will give you all wine, even to drunkenness in return." Then the aged pilgrim, climbed upon the brick oven, the peach, and slept. Very early on the morrow, as the warm red sun arose, he descended to the cellars, burst open the doors with his foot, took a cask of 40 under one arm and the same under the other, and rolled a third before him with his foot into the green meadow and so to the marketplace. And there he shouted with all his heroic might, in a piercing, thunderous voice, "Ho, ye boon companions, and ye smerdi of the village, come to the old man's feast. I will give ye all green wine, even to drunkenness, without price." When the vintners heard that, they assembled, 80 men in number, to take the green wine from the aged pilgrim, but could do nothing, and so went to petition Prince Volodymyr against him. They had told all their griefs, and Volodymyr said, "I will view this pilgrim, vintners, and I myself will requite you." All the boon companions and village peasants had drunk their fill, and they had their fill of the green wine of drunkenness. When the old man said, "Go now to your own homes, to your young wives and little children. I will return to the royal pothouse and sleep upon the peach, the brick oven." This he did. Early in the morning came trusty servants from Prince Volodymyr Brightson, who said, "Come, wandering pilgrim, come before Prince Volodymyr." But the old man answered, "You disquiet me in vain, brothers. Let the old man sleep." At last he chose to descend from the oven, and went through Kiev, past the princely palace, and cried in a mighty voice, "Hey, Prince Volodymyr of royal Kiev, receive here thy money for the green wine from the Cossack of the Dawn, from Ilya of Murom. I go now to the open plain, to the heroic barriers, to the damp oak." And therewith he departed. It was at the feast I heard this tale. There it was, I drank mead ale. Though it flowed down my beard, my mouth stayed dry, for never a drop passed my lips, swear I.